Eagle double G.
Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to finally weigh in on this whole Bill Maher debacle. Now, I know by now everyone has heard that last Friday on Bill Maher's show, he said the N-word. And one of my subscribers had asked me, had I seen it and what did I think of it? So, if you don't know what happened, Bill Maher had a senator by the name of Senator Sassy on his show. And of course, they were talking about politics. And in the middle of the conversation, the senator had said something like, Bill, you can come down to our state and work in the fields with us or something. And Bill Maher said to that, work in the fields. And then he ended by saying, I'm a house nigger. Now, ever since then, there's been this big uproar about it. People are outraged and all of that. So my subscriber asked me, was I upset over what he said? And actually, the answer is nope. And let me tell you why. We've been called that word or heard that word used towards us for about the past 300 to 400 years. So it's not something that surprises me. I'm not clutching my pearls over yet another person degrading us or using that word in a derogatory manner. I'm not surprised at all. And when I heard it, I heard the audience groan and everything. And I was like, you know, it is what it is. Um, it's a word that shouldn't be used at all by anyone. Actually, that word should be retired because it is a derogatory term against us that now we used. We use, you know, with each other. So as far as that subscriber that asked me, I'm sorry because I'm pretty sure they didn't think that I was going to have that response about it. What I say is fuck Bill Maher. Right now, he's trivial at this time in history. Y'all, there's so much stuff going on in the world that we don't need to be worried about inconsequential things like that. We actually got bigger fish to fry. And to me, if I'm going to have some outrage, I'm not going to be wasting it on the likes of Bill Maher and him saying the N word, especially not when we say it all the time either. And I just want to say, don't let them get y'all sidetracked about all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. And like I said, if I'm gonna be outraged, I want to be outraged about something that means something. You know, us being called the N-word, child, we done been called the N-word, or that word has been used so many times, it's not even funny. We got a lot of shit coming down the river in the next few months, the next few years, that directly affect our community. Those are the types of things that we should be outraged about. And if you want to know what really outrages me is, like, I think or look at what's going on at our White House today. And I think back to November when it was time to go vote and a lot of our people didn't even vote, or they voted for candidates that they knew weren't going to win. And it helped us elect this fool that we got into office now. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm outraged about. Um, right now I've been watching the news, y'all. And it's weird because in the last few years, when we had Barack Obama in the White House, things were pretty calm. So I wasn't binge watching the news, worried about what's going to happen to our people, because we had somebody in the White House that at least had sense didn't appear to be crazy or senile, so I could exhale. But this man that we got in the White House right now, the things that he's talking about doing, like cutting all these social programs, they're going to affect our communities. Because you know what? Whenever they get to cutting shit and the economy gets bad, or Washington tightens the belt and they're trying to strip away some programs, we as Black people, our communities, are always the ones that suffer. Now, let me just say this. I don't care about any other race of people when it comes to all the stuff that's about to happen. And the reason why I say that is because I remember what it was like back in the 80s when we had another president that was kind of like this fool we got in the White House now. And they started cutting all these programs. Now, let me just say this. You do have people of color who are middle class and who are living a prosperous life here in America, because a lot more of our people are educated and they're doing better, basically. But you still have a segment of our population that these programs actually benefit and that they're actually using. I have family members that, utilize some of these programs. I have friends that do. So I want to talk about that. I want to be outraged about that, because that's what's going to be outrageous in the next few years. So when I was watching the news here lately, when they were telling all the things that this man is thinking about cutting or completely ending these programs, this is even worse than when President Reagan was in office with his fucking trickle-down economics that never trickled down. When President Reagan was president, because he believed it like he did, it caused a lot of struggles for anyone who was poor, a minority, or anything. I truly believe that that's how crack became so prominent in the 80s. Some people were taking it to cope. Some people were taking it because it was a new drug, but there was a lot of people that were selling it because it helped make them money in the hood, where it allowed them to either maintain a lifestyle or obtain a lifestyle that they never had because of all the money that was involved in it. I believe that when Reagan was president, he cut so many programs and he totally ignored the the underprivileged in the country. And right now, the president we have, is doing the same thing. Now, y'all might say, Rachelle, how do we get here from talking about Bill Maher? Because Bill Maher, like I said, is inconsequential when you got all this shit going on right now. Let me just tell you some of the programs that 45 is thinking of cutting. So we all know that, he was talking about, the Affordable Care Act, health care, all of that. But he's talking about cutting or changing food stamps, which is the SNAP program, WIC, which helps women and children with milk and formula and, healthy things in their diet. Student loans. Now, y'all know President Obama in the last 8 years did so much to help people that had defaulted on student loans find a path back to pay back their loans, without their wages being garnished, without their not Social Security, their income tax checks being taken. He started so many programs for forgiveness of those loans, not wiping them away, but creating avenues that made people able to start paying those loans back. those loans back. Um, Another program that he's talking about cutting or eliminating, Section 8 and housing assistance programs. Now, a lot of people may say, well, you know what? Good, because finally these people can get up off their butts and, get out here and work to keep a roof over their head. You're right. But what I'm saying is, when he starts to cut all these programs, when these people are left without SNAP benefits, WIC, housing, what happens to those people? They don't just disappear. You know what I'm saying? These people are left to the community to take care, the neighborhood churches, the neighborhood, programs that help underprivileged individuals in the city. I lived through that Reagan era, and I remember when you were poorer than what you had ever been in your life. When you have that much poverty going on with so many people, churches and neighborhood community centers, they're not going to be able to handle that. Y'all, we got to get ahead of what's coming down the river. Meaning, I don't have money or anything where I can open up some place where people can come and, get any type of financial help. But what I do have is a brain and a willingness to help people. Maybe I could volunteer at some type of community center that helps couple people with resources that can help them when all of this shit starts to happen. Because y'all, back in the day when our parents were younger, and not even our parents, our great grandparents, and they were living through like Jim Crow, where they couldn't go certain places and frequent certain businesses or anything. There were times when our great grandparents needed a hotel, and hotels didn't rent rooms to Black people. So they came up with a system of rooming houses. And I believe that's how the rooming house became so big in the Black community, because we had to provide, you know, ways for us to have places to stay when we traveled throughout this country. And that's what we're going to need to do again. We don't need to be asking people to help us. We need to help ourselves. So when I think about all this shit with Bill Maher, I don't give a flying fuck about it. They divert us from things that will help us keep our feet on the ground during the time when we have a crazy administration. So like I said, y'all, if you want to be outraged about that, that is your right. But think about the stuff and pay attention to this stuff that's going on in the White House. Because not only are they cutting all those programs, they're thinking about changing, things in the Department of Education. Now, y'all know our schools or schools in some of the Black communities are the lowest performing schools, have the less resources, not the best of teachers. So if they're thinking of cutting stuff with the Department of Education, whose schools do you think are going to fare worse? It's going to be ours. It always is. So I got my eye on what's going to happen to us in the future when it comes to this country, not allowing, the Nword to derail me and get me so upset that it takes my mind off of what I'm watching starting to happen with this fucking president that we got, y'all. This man, like a lot of y'all have been saying, was raised with a silver spoon in his mouth. He has no idea. I was having a conversation with a fellow YouTuber, and she knows who she is. And her and I was talking, and something she said stopped me. She said, this man has no idea what it's like to even just be average or to struggle for anything, because he was born wealthy, y'all. Born wealthy. And then when he went out on his own, I think they say his father gave him like $6 million or $10 million to start his own business. And he calls that a little loan. Any one of us who's listening to me right now, if somebody handed us, you know, a loan or gave us a loan of $10 million, we wouldn't consider that a little loan. That's a substantial amount to get started. So, y'all, I didn't mean to go off on a tirade, but I'm just worried about our people. And when I said that I don't give a damn about any other race, because it's always us. Always us. Then when shit like this happens, it affects us. So in your communities, if there's anything that you can do to help or volunteer, because y'all, they're cutting a WIC and SNAP benefits, it's going to be people, families out in the street, homeless, hungry, and all fucked up. So think about that. And fuck a Bill Maher. People, like I said, they've been calling us the N-word for hundreds of years. And if you ask me, I believe they'll be doing this to the end of time. So with that, y'all, I didn't mean to go off on a rant. So, and I could barely talk this morning and eat too. So let me get on off here. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I know that it was, not good what Bill Maher said, but have y'all been watching the news though? And really seeing what's going on out here? Leave it down in the comments. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Child, I done went off on a tangent and spit all over my damn computer and everything. I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye-bye.